Today's speaker is Professor Burma, uh, and he is a professor of IIIT Allahabad, and he is also presently registrar in charge at IIT Allahabad, IIIT Allahabad. He has more than 28 years of experience of teaching and research. He has published excellent papers in international and national journals and conferences of repute, and is the author of four book chapters, supervised seven PhDs, and various many numbers of PG students also. Uh, Dr. Burma has worked as a member of many national and international conferences of repute. Dr. Burma has visited RS Moscow, which is the Damsko University, South Korea, AIT, mm, Thailand, for various academic purposes in the area of wireless sensor network. He has been awarded entrusted visiting professor from Dongsan University, South Korea. His area of work includes particularly the wireless sensor networks, intelligent sensors, uh, and you can say many other areas where he is very much means expertise in the particularly wireless uh, communication and wireless transmission, all those fields. And great, his group is basically focused on the analysis of statistical routing and geographical routing uh, on a homogeneous network. Now I request our Professor Burma, he can share any means a few words with the participants before going to the technical talk. That will be nice for us. He can speak something about his institute also and his experience before going to the technical talk. Sir, I request you now.
Yes, sir.
This platform is completely with you now.
Yeah. Good morning, the good morning organizing committee, the chairman of the organizing committee, Professor Panda, sir, all participants, research scholars, director, and all administration. Uh, really, I am very much enthusiastic and I congratulate NIT Meghalaya for such an FDP program, which really gives us the aspect. Uh, Schedule I saw, and it was very nice. No doubt, I was unfortunate that I could not participate because of the sessional examination and other meetings, etc. But the schedule I wanted to participate, I could not do. I apologize for that. Triple IT Allahabad basically has got a very good WSN lab with Internet of the Things. I started this lab in 2003, and then 2005 I went to NUS Singapore. Then I went to Dongsu University, South Korea. Then after returning, I developed this lab. I got an Indo-Russian project, and through that, I just developed this laboratory where we have got more than 300 of the sensor nodes. We have got the sensing kits where the routers and sensors are there. We have got the IoT kits. We have got the IoT nodes. And also we have got the spectrum analyzer, network analyzer, and the vector analyzer. As we have developed the model here in the laboratory, tested the model, and given some results also. Other groups are working here in the VLSI and embedded system. Also, groups are working on the machine learning and deep learning and signal processing. and others are also working on the service-oriented architecture and mobile computing group. So in this area, uh, we are deploying the nodes in the field. We are developing the algorithm. Initially I started with NS2, but NS2 was having the optimized architecture. If you go through the NS2 codes backend, you will just see it says set node 0, set node 1. That shows that the architecture is optimized. In the optimized architecture, it is good to have the programming, the trace graphs, but the flexibility becomes slightly difficult. Then I went to GlomoSim, that is Global Mobile Simulator, where the mobility pattern I used to measure and the localization error I have calculated. And let us see on this also. Today's PPT, I will show what we have done in our laboratory, some results interesting. Then recently I'm working on IoT, and IoT I have gone to the applications where I've taken trust security management as and also the edge computing and the fog computing architecture. And Contiki generally I'm using, that is working with Raspberry Pi and also with the Arduino. So Contiki with the Kuja platform is working very well. I, on behalf of IIIT Allahabad, invite all to visit any time at IIIT Allahabad and see our laboratory and suggest and collaborate. Let us collaborate with each other and having an MOU and develop the research projects in future. So I think with this, let me see how we can discuss. Uh, I would have shown the hands-on also, my own laboratory, because I have taken Amazon Web Services system where the one-to-one mapping of the hands-on laboratory is possible. So we will see here two important aspects. One is sensor network, which has started. Uh, I'm a BTech of 1988. At that time, fiber optics was on the thrill. There were many companies, Hindustan Cables, Optica, and fiber cluster, fibers were made. Fortran programming and COBOL programming was their numerical analysis we used to simulate. Due course of time, wireless sensor network came where, uh, where the data collection part was used for the sensor, and that data collection part was signalized or signal conditioned and accordingly sent to the destined user. Because of the big data analysis, because of the data analytics that is the thrust today, the training of the data is statistically or the non-supervised or supervised being done by the machine learning group, and the total data to be transmitted to multiple gateways, etc. We have taken care of the Internet of the Things. So today we will see how the path of the Internet of the Things is started and what WSN does, what are the tools, and how this perspective approach tells us for the application. Recently, after IoT WSN, I have started working on unmanned area networks, UAV, the one PhD scholar I have taken, and autopiloting concept I have used with the IoT and the WSN. Questions are welcome any time or end of the time so that it will make me learn also. That is the importance of any FDP and any workshop. Let me learn, and I will just see that I have to read more books if I am not able to answer it. If we go to the WSN, it is nothing but the network of the smart sensor nodes. Smart means where the self-organizing capacity can take place, where the protocols and the algorithms can take. And to this, a processor, memory, etc. are integrated. I tell you, for example, y is equal to fx if we see, for mathematics, it is nothing but a straight line. But if I say a sensor has to sense phenomena or the data of the y is equal to fx, it accepts as a pattern. And this particular pattern will define that what condition, what monitoring, what processing is possible. And therefore, these sensor nodes have been deployed in an ad hoc fashion, and it comprises of what you say, the cooperative and the collaborative system. This limited capability means the problem is always with the base station. Problem is always with the base station. And this base station, what happens? This base station, what happens? The power sometimes becomes slightly typical. And because of this power, the communication range is 2 kilometers, but the sensing range becomes only 1 kilometer. So communication range and the sensing range, if matches, then we say then the coverage and the connectivity is well defined. These are the components that are well known. That is, we have got the processor, we have got the memory, radio, sensor, etc. I tell you an interesting story. Coming years, last couple of years, people were very much involved in the game in the mobile. I thought that how to stop this. So I went to the data set of the mobiles. I saw that where the RAM is slightly less, the high capacity and high frame rate video cannot be transmitted. And under that condition, it will hang off. So under that condition, the transmission is there, and any gaming system is always with a high frame rate. So that was one of the view. And here also, the processor that was used as a 16-bit RSI, but today these sensor nodes are well interfaced with the IoT system or the video sensing systems, where today we have also got multimedia sensors where these processing can be used. This is the component now, coming out with the component. If you see the ingredients here, we have got the sensing. Once you have sensed, you have collected the data. For example, we have got our laboratory, AC is there, we have got the blower is there, we sense the temperature there. Put a threshold, under that threshold, we just have a temperature. Communicate it to the receiver or the destined user. But to do all this, we have got the raw data. Raw data needs to be computed. And to have this computation, sometimes depending upon the application, the control and the programming is needed. I tell a very interesting example of programming. Suppose I ask that design a software switch. It is nothing. Just if I just visualize, it is an XOR gate. You just ground one, another end you program. According to that program, the switch is open and closed. So this particular programming here is on the parasitic and the paradigm of the hardware system.
and that hardware system is configured. According to that configuration, we can find the complexity and we can also move towards the controlling and the communication. We have got the sensing here. If you see the sensing, sensing can be either with the functions or without a functions. Without a function, sensing is very easy. Suppose there is a fire. We need an extinguishing to have the fire. That is very good. But question arises that unless and until we know that whether the fire is because of the cigarette, because of the chemical, because of the paper burning, or because of the short circuiting, we cannot say that how that can be extinguished. So monitoring of that is through the data transfer. That can be either event based or you can have the periodic based. Event based means it is just triggered. For example, we have got a chip. Today we have gone to the lab on a chip. And if we gone to the lab on a chip, we have that chip monitored the event and monitor or the periodic. Function is easy, that either you have got the processing there or you have got the diagnostic there. Let us have an example. These days, this COVID period has come out. That is the pandemic season. Now, COVID means, if you analyze technically, it is based on the carrier. Carrier as an technology means a signal with maximum frequency or a signal with an impulse amplitude. So how to find this impulse with a maximum amplitude? There is a cluster. With that cluster, draw the graph variation of the signal. Through that signal, put an optimization theory. Using the optimization theory, maximum amplitude signal is retrieved and that becomes a carrier. So this is the theory and start of the sensing system. Programming is either with the function or the issues. You have the function y is equal to a naught fx. Y is equal to a naught x naught plus a1 x1. So for a naught x naught plus a1 x1 is nothing, just a pattern. If you want to have the pattern, you have got this. A naught a1 is nothing, just a weighted pattern. So if we have the weighted pattern, under this circumstances, if I want to train, I can have the x1, x2 to be trained either through a machine learning, through a tools, or whatever view we want. Therefore, programming is based either on the functions, which provide, functions means it provides, needs some testing, it needs some synchronization, it needs some algorithmic approach, and that is the reason here that functions with the issues collaborate to provide the algorithm with a specific language. Other way around, today we are working on the tools, because tools generally provide us the statistical output. Suppose I say it is the network simulator. That means virtually if I saying that 100 packets are going and 91 packets are receiving, then in real time either 89 packets will be received or 98 packets will be received. So accordingly, the tools are just providing the view of that. And for example, I can have the batch file. That batch file will provide a center. The point of center will be the localization. So based on tools, we have the environments, we have the controlling parameters. So this is the architecture where the sensing unit senses, processing unit conditions. Although since it is conditioning, we have got the storage, etc. For example, in the mobile system also, we have got the ERAM or EEPROM, whatever is needed. And we have got the power management. Power management is the battery driven. Battery driven because of this, the lifetime has to be calculated, because even if the device is off from the environment, it continues to sense something and dissipate something. We have got this homogeneous and heterogeneous architecture. Here's the architecture, homogeneous and heterogeneous. Why? Because in homogeneous, identical capabilities are there, heterogeneous, different capabilities are there. Meaning thereby, suppose there is a boundary. A person is just crossing the boundary, woman is coming, baby is crawling, cat is coming, dog is coming. That means the random walk phenomena is different. So sensing here is an heterogeneous sensor network because the capabilities are different and execution is with the different functions. But if I deploy and all nodes have the same work or the same duty, for example, I am deploying to just find the height of the crops in an agriculture field. All the nodes are deployed to just detect the height of the crops. All the nodes are just deployed to just find the temperature in a particular area. So under that condition, the identical capabilities are there, and that is the homogeneous sensor network. Based on this, the computation complexity is general increased. And how this computation complexity is increased is based on the paradigm, how the deployment is there. If it is a deterministic deployment, it is easy. For example, I say we have the model. Raw data is there, model executes, and we get the response. But if we have got the model with an AI capacity, raw data is there, AI will try to have the conditioning on the model and then give the response. And if I have got the model with AI plus machine learning or the deep learning, then the output is slightly different. So complexity of the system, complexity of the paradigm is therefore slightly changing. That's the reason we have got the 3-tier where sensing is one part, computing is another part, delivering is the another part. These are the tools I have just shown here. We have got the simulators, we have got the test beds. When I started the laboratory, I started also with the test bed. When I was a student in 1988, 1989, then fiber optic test bed was there. And I used to work on that. But working on the test bed was just a straight platform or a flat system. But there was no flexibility that I can put my algorithm, I can put my data and then analyze. Because graph is nothing. I cannot visualize big data, so I'm just having the variation. And variation is the graph, and behind the graph there are theories, practical, and that will define whether it is correct or not. Similar is the simulators here. Either we have got a specific one or a general one. Based on that, we use this simulator. Earlier it was NS2, today it is NS3 also. Castelia was there, Kuja was there. Today we have got the CallNet also, ROMNet++ also. Emulators are there where the trace graphs, etc. can be taken care, and we have got the test beds here. And this test bed in 1987, which I was using for a particular system, particular analysis, today these test beds are using for a virtual hands-on practices. If I want to demonstrate the open laboratory to anybody, I can have the test bed. With that test bed, I can go ahead. These are some of the applications. Applications, if you see, we have got in transportation, precision, entertainment, and smart building. And future, this is smart building, as these days we are just seeing in all research activities that a smart city, a smart building, all are coming. This will come out to be as an application of the Internet of the Things. Then we have got the environmental monitoring. Environmental monitoring, just if you can do a small practical that sense the rainwater, and once you have sensed the rainwater, it is not only the water, the humidity, temperature, etc. is there. Just remove the humidity and temperature, you will find what is the outcome of the rainwater. And then we have got the industrial applications or healthcare, like pollution monitoring system. Earlier, we used to have large chimneys, and larger chimney, the pollution was being monitored very easily. But now, programmable pollution monitoring systems are there. For example, even in the petrol, we just recognize using the octane number. If the octane number is not good, then carbon monoxide will come out and there will be the tears in the eyes. This is the more aspect of the application. For example, it has now been classified as one of the application of tracking and one of the application of the monitoring. If you go for the tracking, we have the military tracking, enemy tracking, animal tracking, and car bus tracking. For the monitoring, we have got the security detection, or we can have the patient monitoring, environmental weather monitoring, etc. So whole sensor network now, which earlier was having these applications, now has been classified totally in tracking and the monitoring. If this umbrella of IoT as a perspective approach can lead this to, then sensor and IoT are the best phenomena for tomorrow in the research areas. These are the applications now. If you have got the WSN application, this green one, if you see, are very practical: temperature, mobile athlete, power system. Then we have got the security-based monitoring here, like intrusion detection, commercial asset tracking, perception monitoring, surveillance, etc. So one circle, this is something which is the real time. One circle requires the algorithm and the paradigm. The algorithm and the paradigm means that suppose I say that a particular place the nodes have been deployed, and that particular nodes are being used for the mesh network instead of the sensor network. Difference between is the mesh network, we may not need a router. Or we can say that there are paints which are used for gliders or drones or airplanes. Now, how will I recognize what characteristics of the paints are needed for those applications? So paints means we must have something which can reflect the electromagnetic wave so that the heating phenomena is reduced. To sense the heating parameter, we can have the temperature monitoring sensors there. And not only monitoring, as the temperature just goes above the threshold, just the sprinkler puts it on and the cooling starts. So these are the applications, and we have moved through these applications a path towards the IoT structure. IoT as such is nothing. These days, many of us are seeing that IoT is there. IoT is just comprising of some things. Let us see what things are, and some gateway. A gateway is something where we can have the transfer of the sensor data to a data center. And if you can define that data center as a cloud, then it will be very good. So sensor network therefore becomes a part of the IoT that was we are working today, but in 2008 only it was reflected that in the survey it was reflected that the sensor network will be a sub part of IoT. That will today, now earlier as a data analytics tool, now it is used as the data acquisition tool. So when I visited Dongshu University, at that time people were talking about in 2007, 2008 that IoT will come. But under that circumstances, I was not able to find out that how IoT will be integrated with sensor networks. So this cross-discipline, this is my practical view. I'm just explaining that there they were using the microelectrical systems. Microelectrical systems were having the short range. And this short range, they want to constitute a sensor deployment. And they want to just transmit it from to the required destination. So sensor was doing that, but hopping was trying to minimize the energy. Because of this minimization of energy, what happened? That the sensor used to die and data used to lose. So people have used the gateway and formed the cloud for the data acquisition. Therefore, relation is that sensor information interface, that is IoT, and information accumulation, that is IoT working in. WSN towards the IoT is nothing. WSN plus internet is the internet of the things. How you use this internet, that is the other. I told just an example that we have got the PUBG Mobile. I don't want others to play that because that is not good or that is good, I don't know. But if I don't want, then I say that, okay, the RAM should be less. Hanging of the video will be there with that frame rate. And finally, and more specific, if I want to go to the SAR ratio of the mobile. If the SAR ratio is very high, then the game, even if it's played, the audio will be hanged up. And therefore, WSN with the internet is providing us Internet of the Things. This is the view that looks like that we have got the network here, we have got the router here, and finally, you have got this. I tell you that, for example, if the net is not there, you have got the LAN router. You can just have the dongle, just use that dongle as a LAN router, open your hotspot, your LAN route, that dongle will work as the LAN router here. So based on this situation, we can have the WSN moving towards the IoT. Therefore, IoT is nothing set of the embedded devices where computing communication, uniquely network identification, and interconnected. Although if I synchronize, we have to think out that IoT we are working on the physical layer or IoT we are working on the network layer. Today, most of the researchers, we are all working on the network layer because it is easy to analysis there. Many people are started working on the physical layer also, where cognitive computing they have taken care of. And cognitive sensor networks or the intelligent sensor networks have come out. And therefore, that global and dynamic infrastructure, it consists of where interoperability is there, communication is there, and identification with gathering and the communication facility with sensing is enabled. These are some of the standards, and this it looks like that you have got internet. Now, I forget about Internet of the Things. When I teach the class, I generally say, name the device which can provide connectivity to benefit. Earlier device where the coverage and connectivity was optimized, it was sensor networks because we are used to have the sensing range and the communication range. But the connectivity to benefits are analytics, data values, sensing, and connection. And that connectivity is because of the internet, and benefits are because of these 6 areas. And once these benefited are there with the connectivity, we say Internet of the Things as an umbrella technology. So it provides the global scale for all connectivity. So this was the evaluation. If you just see that earlier RFID was there, this was used by many. Also, I worked on the RFID in 1991, 92, and I was just using as a button device. ये RFID है, बटन दबा दिया तो हमारा लाइब्रेरी का वो आ गया. But now this I used to recognize in a very after long period of time that anti-collision external antenna identification was possible. Then this provided processing, and finally this provided what you call as the active and passive monitoring actuating, and therefore this particular system has become an IoT. And when I started antenna, initial stage I used to think that Maxwell has given lots of things, but what make antenna to radiate? So signal comes comprising of the something, antenna material just stimulated the electrons. The stray of these electrons provides us the radiations. And therefore, this RFID only, see, just that is the reason I have shown this graph. RFID structure, which was developed in something 2006, 7, 8, that has lead to different generation and lead us to an IoT. And therefore, today IoT is just evaluated to form a cloud between sensors and the network. This is the reference model that is being shown. That domain is there. With this domain, it requires some model. Model means you have something, because as I told very first, you have got the raw data, you have got the model, you have got the output. But best model is where you have got the semantics as your algorithm that reacts with your input and then provides the output. And that staircase is good one. Therefore, this model is there. With this model, we have got the foundation concepts. With this, we develop this, what you call as the functional components. And finally, we provide the security and we go to the. This domain here, which is, can be a concepts, the responsibilities or the relationship. Many a times these are being used by the companies are using for the services. For example, I have got this service-oriented architecture and I want to have the localization measure here. What I know is sensor. I don't know IoT, suppose. At the ground level, I will put a wheel of the sensor. In upper level, I put an application using localization. In between, I will develop middleware architecture, which can interface both. And that particular relationship definitions will provide the domain model. And that is one of the reasons that IoT domain suffers from inconsistent usage sometimes, because energy is being dissipated and that particular time that is being not in use. This is something which looks like, if you see the generic architecture, where we have got the services, where we have got the entity, and this human services, etc. just is a structure. That what is the generic architecture. Now, this physical identity can be here, as I told, human being, animals, car, computers, etc. Virtual entity can be anything with I can synchronize it. We have got the virtual entity here. Suppose I say there are two computers in a LAN. One computer is off. I say sending a hello message to that, and I ask that where this hello message will go. That the off computer is so intelligent that once it is on, it will display that, or it will be lost in air, or the hello message will not be propagated. Now, those aspects which provide the synchronization with the virtual entity and the physical entity, that provides what you call as the aspects in the model. User services are same as defined in 1995, that this should come out as an open distributed system. And parallel computing, distributed computing, when integrated with the semantics of the smart system, it provides the mobile computing. Similarly, here is that we can have, it is 1995 only, this came into picture, that we can have the active digital artifacts, or we can have any type of the user, but only things, the taxonomies are to be defined. The taxonomies are to be defined, that is good, that we can have the taxonomy depending upon the application. Therefore, I have written user bracketed of service, what type of services are needed, not an omni model is there. Device can be as usual, sensor, actuator, and tag. We can have the device here which contains all the sensors, etc. It is connected with the actuator, tag, and the sensor. Tag will read it, sensor will just sense it, and finally it will go to the particular system or the user, and finally sensor will also monitor. This is the sensor here, part of the WSN, which provides tracking as well as the monitoring, both with the device application in the IoT structure. Resources can be on-device resource or the network resource. Network resource is the cloud. People today are working on the cloud, fog computing, edge computing, etc., etc. And on-device resource means some interface is needed between the hardware and between what we are doing with the IoT software. It is very well and very interesting if we have the Kuja software and we use the Conteki platform and just transmit the data and just we say that how the interface and the resource capacity is being. This is services that is being explained by two authors in 2012 and 13. When I started, I was interested to understand what type is concept of the services. 2012, it is the mechanism. 2013, it became the components and the interface. Well, my way of working is that I go to the deeper in all things. So when I say it is services, then I thought that why the concept researcher have used services now. So services means I can have the mechanism, I can have the paradigm. Components means I can have the middleware architecture. And that is the reason that I can put a middleware architecture as the IoT device to interface between the network and between the applications. We can have the non-IoT device in the management where, for example, enterprise system. We have got the IoT services where resource, virtual or integrated, or we can have a complete system with the virtual entity or the physical entity. This is the informational model. Now, three things we have come out till now, whatever we have seen. We have seen what you say as the model. Now, model has to be established as a structure, or the model has to be established as a framework. As I told very first, that y is equal to a naught x naught plus a1 x1. That is a simple equation. But for an image processing person, maybe a pattern. But for a particular person, this may reflect a structure or the framework. Very basic, just I give an example. If you just recall Ohm's law, that is V is equal to IR. Now, Ohm has said voltage as V, resistance as R. Why not he has thought of that current to be C? Why? It is not that capacitance was defined by the C. It is because that current is nothing but the rate of change of intensity, and therefore it was I. Similarly, if you go to the coding system of the resistance, some series is being formed. So a structural view provides the attributes, relation, and services. Framework will provide the architectural view. And that is the reason we have got the functional model, we have got the service-oriented architecture, and this is not new. Therefore, I am mentioning the year. We are only working on the thoughts of the research developed. And we say that we are working on the IoT or WSN, but the model and the middleware that we are having, that is the main. This is the functional model now. We have got the device, we have got the communication, we have got service, IoT, virtual or IoT services, management, resource, etc. Power is there. Security aspects is slightly tough because as the number of nodes go high, the overhead increases. And if overhead increases, the security becomes. This looks like a functional model. If you see, we have got the IoT request actuator on, temperature is there, set lock, outdoor temperature is measured. It looks something like functional model. We have got that this is the physical world developed. We have got that here we are measuring the temperature of the car, etc. We have got device, if we have devised the sensor to measure the actuator, we measure the temperature sensor. This looks like something, this I have taken from the reference, it is there at the end, that it looks that we have got moving IoT device and the static association and dynamic association. Now, how I came to this, understand this, suppose I say the Facebook, that is the social network. I ask generally in the class that draw the graph of the Facebook. Is it a connected graph or an unconnected graph? Based on that graph, I can realize the architecture or the structure of the Facebook. So if it is dynamic system, dynamic tree and the dynamic graph will come into picture. Then IoT device resource can be managed dynamically. If it is a static system, then the platform is fixed. For example, we are having the breadboard. For example, we are having the breadboard with function generator and power supply. And based on that, we can define the services as per our choice. Therefore, building blocks of the functional view provide unified model, functional view, and the functional model. Once there is a steering, once there is a guide. This is the functional model. Now that management is something this, configuring fault tolerance, etc. Service architecture is this. IoT management is this. And finally, these are the security. That there I have shown the block. Here we have shown the each. This proper, if I can configure it, then I say that IoT structure is configured. So moving from WSN to IoT looks easy. But it is easy. It is only once I can configure the IoT structure. When I was a student, my teacher used to say the difference between hardware and software is that hardware is the skeleton, how you configure this, that is the software. I realized that if I can develop this framework, and if I can have from management, suppose I can have the fault tolerance, service I can have the service composition, if I can configure, then every particular application can be. Process modeling, the same. And the structure now to the process modeling is this. Now you have got the model, you have the model serialization, and just to configure this model with the service or this is the interaction. Now you have got the domain expert. For example, if you go to the web development, we require some domain. If we have got the HTML, we require some security. If we have got the cryptographic cyber plane, we require either the cryptography, crypto analysis, whatever it may be. So that is the process modeling with the graphic. The service architect, service organization, that is nothing, just an execution with the alignment of the applications. This looks like something that you have got the information, combine information, have the flexible, and just go for the architectural view and interface with service resolution, etc. This virtual entity which I have mentioned in my blog, attribute based it is. And once you say the attribute based, it immediately calls us to the sensor network. Why? Because we are not bothered that which is the area. We are bothered that which particular device it is trying to see. So this virtual entity is something, an imagination, which requires some type of the soft computing skills. Either we can go for the AI, we can go for the machine learning, or we can go for the some other data analytics techniques. Machine learning, I'm only saying because the training of the data is possible. And training of the data statistically is possible. Therefore, complexity becomes slightly less because any statistical device is based on our view that how we can this. Suppose I can go for the Bayes theorem. I can go for the Bayesian networks also if there are number of nodes are too high. So, for example, I tell you another example in virtual entity. We deploy the nodes and we follow the Euclidean distance. Why? Because the nodes are of the nearer distance. But if the deploy the nodes of 100 kilometers, then the Euclidean distance will not work. And if I use Euclidean distance, the localization error will come in. Why? Because Earth is spherical in shape. Instead of r theta phi, we are using x, y, z. So this particular provides a communication link application with the network. We have got two types of the communication once we devise end-to-end communication or hop-to-hop communication. Both are good. Find out cache memory, find out proxies, find out gateways, and find. How will you find out? Linux is a, if I say, operating system, and also I say that Linux is scalable in nature. So we have to find out how the proxies and the gateways can be configured such that the arguments, etc., can be. Hop-to-hop communication means multi-hop communication. We can calculate the energy and use the number of the hops. This looks like something this, that if you have got the end-to-end communication, it is this. If you have got the network communication, it is this. And you've got the hop-to-hop communication, it is this. You see at the output, message arguments in both three are there. Transmit message, here it is in end-to-end. In network, it is packet. And it hop-to-hop, it is frame. Based on this, the communication takes place. Security as such, I said that it is slightly typical. And honestly speaking, I have not done too much work on security. So please accept my this theoretical idea. Once upon a time when I will complete this security practically, I will give some data. So here I will not be able to give any data or the framework or type of architecture. It is authorization and authentication, where we provide the function set and it will verify. That is the simply, if I am sending A is equal to Y, if at the end it is A, Y, the security is there, otherwise it's not. Identity management is there as the paradigm which provides anonymously with the security, and the key exchange and management, that is cryptography or the crypto analysis. Now, this perspective word which I have said in my topic, now that is the collection of activities, what sensors, tactics and guidelines to ensure the system with quality properties and architecture. Means structure, architecture, structure, framework, functional, model, outcome, sensing, communicating, computing, communicating. This all combines a perspective. I show a lab experiment which we have done, a simple lab experiment in our laboratory. This is the breadboard. This is the sensor we've taken. I have measured in this laboratory with the date, with the field level, the air quality index. The standard index I got from one of the literature and trying to measure whether if it is good, then the sensor is sensing properly and IoT structure is transmitting its variation to a particular point to find out whether the air quality there is good or bad. Here we have got crest and trough here at different points. Here we have got one spikes at this, and This experiment is the real-time experiment that we have done in the field, in the laboratory. Sometimes in the holidays, I go in the laboratory and there are 3 floors. I deploy the nodes on the ground floor, and from my laboratories and the second floor, I used to send data. Sometimes voice I transmit, sometimes message I transmit, and I just find out what is the response. This is the real-time parameter air quality measurement in the laboratory. The results we have simulated here with the time synchronization and the non-synchronization, finding out at what time the packets will be colliding depending upon the size of the network. Because any research, once you do as a fun also, will require some parameters to be equalated. And probability of collision will find out us that how many nodes to be deployed, what will be the density, and how the delay will be calculated with the throughput, and how the synchronization needed or not. Because if the delay is there, latency is there. Latency is there, throughput is less, throughput is delayed, size of the network, either it will be clustered or congested, or it will be difficult. These are the results. Now, there sometimes it happened because of the heterogeneous, not an homogeneous, the irregularity came into picture. That irregularity came into picture, then we have to find the degree of irregularity. That it is whether 20%, 5%, 70%. I used to calculate this that in 2004, in one of the mathematics journal, this degree of irregularity was calculated. I tell you, letters to communication, if you go, Bessel functions you must have heard. Derivation in recent books you will now not find. But many derivations are found in the journals of the older years. And from here in this mathematical, I found the degree of irregularity. I calculated this degree of irregularity with a random diffusion path loss and find out that in the lab, I got this calculation as this. In the field, I got this calculation as this. Based on this, I have designed my offset and accordingly have the data and transmit it using the. These are the applications now. Earlier I said one is smart. Now I have said all is smart. Smart health, smart home, smart farming, industrial IoT, smart chain, wearables, etc. This forms an application of Internet of the Things. This is the last part of the IoT sensor. After this, I have completed. Please excuse me. Please give me some more time. Just I will be ending it. Now, here I am saying the localization. Why I am saying the localization? Because in 2000, the localization was with this basic traditional system, that is Infocom in 2000, and 2006 in this difference, this RF-based user localization, RF-based TOF localization came into picture. I have used this using what you call that connectivity and IoT system. This was the model of the localization when it was developed in 2010. And input is there, estimation is there, output is there, and we have got the algorithm is there here. Here, if you see that the time of arrival, etc., being calculated for the localization. Now, if we go to the scheme, we came to our work now. That we are going to the partitioning part. Once we partition, we get the grid and the vertex. When the vertex of the grid is there, you just find the RS. It is something like that. There was one question in the probability theory. There is a pentagon. A node has person is standing on the vertex of each pentagon. What is the probability at the center of the pentagon? What is the probability if the person is walking out of that node? So based on that theory, you just find indoor and outdoor average error, what is it may be. If you see that the indoor error becomes large, outdoor error is slightly less. Now to reduce that indoor error, we use what you call as the IoT structure, where if it is a simple triangle equilateral, the centroid is the center where the point of localization can be taken. But if it is not, then we have to find the distance. This point calculation is based on this algorithm where we have got the find the beacon, receive it, just find the received signal strength, check it, and finally continue it. If the received signal strength is good, exploit it in the experimental field. If the received signal strength is not good, then stop it and re-go to the interaction of the. These are the algorithms that IoT needs. IoT integrates mobile terminal, localization technology, and communication technology just to provide for location information users. That I told there how communication. Therefore, I told network, framework, and hop to hop. So communication network with this technology means paradigm and algorithm, etc., will provide us this system. This is the location-based reference model. We have got the profile here. We have got the context with the localization, and with this particular, the content, etc., will continue. Therefore, localization is very critical issue in IoT, which is also challenging phase in WSN. Then it is used in many of the applications, and we can establish location-based service system for IoT. Thank you very much. These are some of the references that I have. Any question? Ready to just.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very nice detailed presentation on this WSN and IoT perspectives. So Professor Panda just got disconnected due to some network connectivity issue.
Yes,
so
sir.
I, on behalf of him, thank you very much for your informative session. And I request all the participants, if they have any questions to ask, please go ahead.
Questions, if they have got, they can ask. Anybody can ask. And
yes.
I will send this PPT to you. You can circulate to the participants.
Sure,
and
sir.
my mail will be there. Anytime, just you can either interact with me or you can interact. My research is called in the laboratory. If you have the video conferencing with my laboratory, I will show the real-time hands-on what we are doing also.
Sure. Many thanks.
And welcome all at IIIT Allahabad on behalf.
Yes. Any questions from participants? Please go ahead. Sir is there to discuss anything you want to know about this wireless sensor network, applications, IoT.
Okay, once they go through, then they can ask. That is not a problem.
Yeah. So, sir, I have a question.
Sir.
Regarding this WSN and IoT, means only for security reasons we are moving from WSN to IoT, or there are any other?
No. Security both will be same, whether it is WSN with this IoT. We are moving from WSN to IoT just because we want our data to be connected to a long distance. Because as I told in the second slide, the data rate of the WSN nodes are very less. So we can have a short range communication, say 100 meters. But I want to transmit the data using, say, 500 kilometers. I can have the gateways, I can have the clouds connected, and I can have the IoT Internet of the Things to be connected there. Suppose, for example, I say that my net fails at this talk. I want to still to continue with this talk. My IoT system, suppose, supports VPN networks. I will connect with that VPN networks of IIIT Allahabad and just connected internet with you.
Okay. Sir, in smart grid perspective, because
yes,
I am completely in the field of electrical engineering I am working. So I just want to know whether in smart grid people are now using many a times this IoT and this big data management or big data analytics, I can say, for energy management, energy trading applications. So in your point of view, what will be better, IoT based system or big data?
No, actually, big data analytics, all algorithms are accepted by this IoT.
Okay.
So if I can develop the algorithm with the big data, say theory of computation I use, and just interface with the IoT service oriented architecture or network, that will keep the smart grid automatically.
Okay.
Sir, earlier if we all used to work on the MATLAB, na? So MATLAB generally now is becoming a high level calculator. A good researcher what does that makes a program go to the import of the MATLAB, it imports it and just evaluates using the MATLAB tool. So we use the big data algorithm. It is acceptable with all IoT gateways and all things that is there. And immediately with that interaction, the IoT structure will provide the smart grid. And that smart grid, we can use whatever application we want. And flexibility is all there because big data algorithms are with you.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So,
Thanks a lot.
is there any other questions from any of the participants? Any discussion?
Okay, sir. Anytime they can send me if they have in between, I will send the PPT to you, sir.
Yes, sure, sir. So, many thanks, sir,
Thanks a
for
lot.
our invitation to present and deliver a talk here. So, on behalf of NIT Meghalaya and Professor Panda, I thank you very much for your very interactive and informative session. So, we hope in future again the participants and I will collaborate for this work, and obviously we'll